Perfect. Well, GM, everybody, welcome to Wealth Wednesday. Another exciting edition. Happy to have you all here. We got some important work ahead of us. Hey, we are a week and a half away. No, we're just 1 week away from a new class recording. All right, we got let's back up here. The 16th and 17th, 15th and 16th. We keep doing that. 15 and 16. So a week from tomorrow is our live education week. Now I know we talked about how to get guests there, but let's go over that again real quick, just so we're all on the same page. We'll come into the calendar here. Now, as I've been thinking about my recruiting history, about half of the people that I enroll, well, probably a third of the people I enrolled, I brought to a live education recording at corporate, and then they bought the same day. All right, here it is. From the ground up. Oop. Okay, so here's where you'll catch the live stream, but then you can also register your guests right up here. Okay. Now, of course, it says 10 a.m. Central Time because I'm in Central Time. For you, it's going to be 9 a.m., and I highly recommend that you get there by 8:30. Now, when you are telling a guest how to participate with us, please keep in mind a few things. Number one is they can only come to half a day. So on Thursday, there's an AM and a PM session. On Friday, AM, PM. They need to pick one of those 4 sessions to come to. Now, obviously, if they come Thursday AM and then they sign up at lunch, they can spend the rest of the time with us. But it is going to be limited to guests, only coming to half a day. Number 2 is guests do not get the microphone. Okay. The questions are and interacting with the instructors is a privilege of the members. So, if they got questions, that's great, but there's a guest as a spectator, not as a participant. Members are the participants. So remember, set the proper expectation there. And third thing is they got to be registered, or at least give Richard Stock a heads up about who is coming. Does everyone have Richard Stock's phone number? Let me put it in the chat here, 801-580-5900. Make sure to let him know you are bringing guests if you aren't able to attend in person. Now, my preference is that you're there with them, holding their hand, so to speak, walking them through, and then asking for the order at the end of their session. So make the best of that. Build for it. Call your peeps. Invite. Move your schedule around. Be sure to be there. Yes, sir, Anthony, GM. Good morning.
Good morning, Michael. 2 things. Number 1, how does that work on the Zoom? Because there isn't a morning or afternoon session to book. So they're going to get a Zoom link, which means they have the Zoom, or they have a link.
Oh, man. I wish you were in charge of the IT.
Why don't I always find all the problems?
That's perfect. We need more people.
We did a class on basic class on international IT.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah. So anyway, that's one. Number 2, just a heads up that Cola's essentials classes have been removed and replaced.
Awesome. So, folks, you can jump in and watch the brand new tax and legal updates from Patrick Munson, and be in the know. Make the changes in your tax world for 2025 and have that cutting edge. And then, of course, let people know how you're learning it, where you're learning it from, how to get the most out of it, and invite them to buy.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't watched the Patrick Munson live, it is definitely worth watching. There's a lot of new, really, really good stuff in there. Just a heads up to anybody that thinks that they know color stuff. Definitely worth doing a rewatch.
Perfect. Yep, that's the idea. A closed mind is one of the most dangerous things. So keep an open mind. GM, everybody who just joined. As a quick reminder, we do this every Wednesday with Daine Clark, so put it on your calendar, set a reminder so that you're not dependent on me sending out a text. I know it's great. The text comes out, it's an easy link, but guess what? You can save the link in your calendar. Calendar reminder pops up, bang, same steps. One click and you're there. And look around. If there's an ICM that you think should be here that isn't here, shoot them a text with the link and remind them, hey, we're here for you. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And rumor has it we're going to be starting a Thursday and a Friday. So keep an eye out for that. Not sure when, but it is it's on the idea board as a good idea to implement. So start your day off with some great reminders of what you're capable of, some good insight, updates, tactics, and strategies. If you guys saw or missed it on Monday, I went through the comp plan and how to leverage that. And that'll be up on our channel here pretty soon. Yesterday, Bill talked about how to change your reputation so that people call you for deals instead of for whatever you were in your past life. And how to, reconstruct that perception of, hey, I am a successful real estate investor. I do deals, even if you haven't executed on one successfully yet. If you are watching your classes, you're showing up to the meetings, you're analyzing deals, you're making offers, and one hasn't gone through yet, you're still being a real estate investor. And it's exciting to see a lot of your guys' progress through your curriculum. Ever since I started telling you that I could see how many classes you watch, I've seen an increase in the consumption of the content. So great job. Keep it up. I still think we could do more. I still think there's too much TikTok and Instagram and goofiness going on in your life, and that you could be watching some more. Remember that you can also watch it on double speed to get more out of it. There's just something about our concentration that increases when the speed goes up. And when our concentration increases, our comprehension increases. So that's it. I know it sometimes it might feel like it's dragging on a little bit, and you look at the class and you're like, 6 hours, put it on double speed. Now it's only 3. And of course, turn off all distractions, put the captions on, and put your phone on do not disturb. Do 90 minutes, take a break, do 90 minutes, you're done. So as we're getting ready for the live education week, I guess it's not really a week, it's 2 days, Thursday, Friday. Does anyone have any questions for me about that?
Essential holders, everybody is invited, whoever has the education.
Technically, essentials holders are guests.
Okay.
So
Half a day.
half a day, unless they upgrade. So still get them there, but it's an AIT class. So the people who paid for the AIT get the whole thing. People who didn't, well, they ought to. It's one of the best dollars I've ever spent. And since joining Renatus, I have probably spent $250,000 on coaching and training and different packages and processes and workshops in the last 14 years, and Renatus is still the best money I've ever spent. Renatus is what I was able to get the money to buy these other training and coaching packages. Without Renatus, I wouldn't be able to afford all that stuff. So it's absolutely the best. And when you're sharing that with people, part of the way to make the magic happen with your story is to remember to talk about where you came from. If you only highlight the positives, I closed this deal, I made this money, I had a X dollars month, and it was all positive, but you leave out the negative, the listener still thinks, yeah, but you're leaving something out. Yeah, but that's only a half truth. So if you talk about the negative part, something in your life, I was struggling, I was losing sleep, I was worried, and then I found this group, took some action, and this happened. All of a sudden, those walls come down and they can actually hear you, and they go, oh, this is a real person. They had real struggles. When you bring up that struggle, you become more relatable. And I know that last week at the accelerator, during the panel, there was a lot of that. That's why we have those panels. I see Vivian's smiling face on here. Vivian, if you're in a spot to come out and share your experience about Saturday and how the event went for you and what it was like to be on the panel, we'd like to hear it. Obviously, if you're busy, then stay on mute and I'll tease you later, I guess. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we had Mainly come out yesterday. Yep. Listen only mode. No worries. No worries. But yeah, she came out and shared how it went. And 115 people or something like that, 65 guests, and 20 something people put their orders in. Great work, folks. And then just as a reminder, the challenge starts on June 5th. So if you want to participate in that, you got to get your classes, right? You got to be an AIT student to do the challenge with us, and you also have to be an ISN member. If you are not an ISN member, let me send you a link. Show me what you do. Lean on me. Yeah, that playlist on the Renatus YouTube channel is one of the greats. ISN sign up. Boom. There we go. All right. I think Mitch is a genius. I don't know if you got to spend much time with him, but the way that guy's brain works is very unique. He's always into problem solving and helping shortcut people's learning curve. So this ISN thing that he invented is like the perfect accountability process to get people to actually use their classes. It's interesting when we talk about how your AIT package is a lifetime membership. Like best dollars ever spent. The ROI is going to continue. But some of you have fallen into a mental trap where you think, well, because it's lifetime, it'll be there tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. And so you justify not watching the classes today. And you go to bed early and you get up late. What are you doing? We are in a market right now of extreme uncertainty, which means opportunity. It means deals. It means people are ready to shift their portfolios and sell at a discount. It means they're ready to trade equity for peace of mind. And you got to know how to negotiate. You got to know how to put the deals together, how to raise the capital for the next, little while you're in, especially if you're going to do the challenge with us. I encourage you, get up early, stay up late. Okay. Some of the best learnings I've done between 10 p.m. and midnight. because the house is asleep and I can focus and I can watch the class, and I'm just sitting there and the instructor just keeps blowing my mind about what's possible. One other thing I want to point out is you have a study guidance instructor in your education. Go to education, course library, click on essentials to sort that. And then right down here, this Be a Genius class, Accelerate Your Learning. He's going to show you how to get more out of your education. Okay, it's only 3 hours. But he's going to go through different things about how to get the most out of your time while you're studying. And the deals are coming, folks. Remember what Warren Buffett said, that when people are greedy, be fearful. And when people are fearful, be greedy. Right now, people are very fearful. So it's not to say that greed is good, but essentially what he's saying, because there's a greed and fear index. What he's saying is when everyone's trying to sell and turn into cash, is your time to buy and get the discounts. When everyone's going crazy and, you know, like in Denver and Atlanta, when people are overpaying the appraised value, it's time to just take it back a step, be a little fearful while they're being greedy. But right now, people are in fear mode, so it's time to be greedy, scoop it up. I want to give a big quick shout out to the top 10, and then we will get into our guest speaker for the day. So congrats, Mr. Danny out of the Wyoming team, #1 this week. #2, David and Denisha out of the Vernal team, well done. Then we got Jeremy from the Texas team coming in the 3rd position, Richard Stock, #4. We got Tabitha and Nate from the Wisconsin team, #5. Mike Saunders from the Idaho team coming in at #6. Well done. We got someone new to the leaderboard. That's Mr. Randall Risto from the Illinois team coming in at #7. We got Emily McLeod from the Washington team. It's great to see her up on the board, #8. Alfredo, #9 from the West Valley team, and Scott Buckholtz from the Kentucky team coming in at #10. Wow. Great job, guys. We are expanding across the nation. And if you aren't a part of this gravy train, you got to wonder why. What are you missing out on? What are you not implementing that could drastically change your financial position in life? Not just your financial position, but your relationships as well. Quote of the day: anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays young. Speaking of keeping learning, one of the most learned learners that I know, someone who stays up on his education, personal education, financial education, real estate education, communication, is Mr. Daine Clark. For those of you who don't know, when he first got started with us, he was working just a regular old 9 to 5. He was also working on the weekends. He was trying to just trade his time for dollars, building up a new family. He got invited to this workshop, right? The Thursday night meeting, the famous Thursday night meeting. And when he saw the opportunity, he was like, I don't know if this is for me. That's a lot of money to join. There's this thing called risk. I hate risk. I don't want to do it. I don't know. But luckily, he took his wife's advice. And she elbowed him in the ribs. You're doing this. I don't know if she growled at him. She was like, Daine, I really think you ought to do this. And I remember hearing this story from her perspective, like, this is going to work. Look around. Look at what's happening. We should take a serious look at this. And with his current financial position, he didn't have the money. He was making $9 an hour at the Apple store. But through the process of showing up early, staying late, plugging into the live events, watching his classes, turning off the TV, he didn't shoot his TV like I did, but he turned it off. Within less than a year, he had made enough money from the deals to pay off the credit cards that he got to join the program. And was well on his way to his first 100 deals. Then he's done 200 deals. Now he's done over 300 deals. The guy is a cash flow machine, putting deals together, solving problems that nobody else could. And one thing I like about him is that mortgage brokers want to work with him, real estate agents want to work with him, title companies want to work with him. He's doing everything above board, fully documented, and everybody wins. Everybody wins. And that's the kind of real estate that you're going to be taught here at Renatus is honest, ethical, win-win real estate. So we're really proud of what Daine's been able to accomplish in these last few years as he's put together an amazing system. And I know a lot of you are taking action on that. So excited to have him today. So let's give a big warm welcome to the man of the hour, Mr. Daine Clark.
Hey, what's up, guys? Happy
GM.
Wednesday, GM. Every time I
Yeah.
think that, I think
Wolf
of
Wednesday. Thanks for
General
being here.
Motors. But no, many other things.
GM, get motivated, generate money.
Yes, exactly.
Cool. Well, how's your week?
Dude, it is crazy.
I know last week we spoke, you said you got one on Wednesday, one on Thursday, and one on Friday.
Yeah.
And so if you can give us a little update on that.
So yeah, I closed one Monday, closing two today, one on Friday. It is just, it's nuts.
Awesome. So in addition to giving us the update, did you go to the accelerator last Saturday?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
Accelerator. No.
Okay, no worries, because I know you did something else at corporate recently. But I'm also curious about well, just slipped my mind. We're going to talk about those 3 deals and then
Well, it's coming back to you. My wife sent me the funniest meme the other day where she says, it was one of those little short video things. And she goes, or in the video, it's like me praying that my wife or that my husband reaches all of his goals so I can buy anything I want. Like, and she was like, I guess you could say this was me all those years ago. I hope
prayers
my husband
answered.
achieves all of his dreams so I can buy anything I want.
That's a
Oh,
thoughtful
man.
wife there for you.
Yeah. Anyway, did it come back to you?
We were talking about the deals, and then I wanted to get your take on. Well, I know that the Federal Reserve is having their meeting today to decide whether they're going to raise, cut, or keep rates the same.
Yeah.
I think it's like in 3 or 4 hours they're going to come out and make some big announcement, and then we should see some activity from that.
Yeah. Crossing fingers.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because now the Secretary Treasury, Scott Bessent, if the Fed doesn't lower rates so that people can refinance, then he's going to just go buy Treasury bonds and increase the liquidity so that people have more money that way. So it'll be very interesting to see the Treasury versus the Fed now playing with this funny liquidity pool for America. But something's going to happen today, and it's exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember now. It was going to be about the habit of watching classes when there's so many other distractions. How did you retrain your brain to want education?
Sorry, say that one more time.
How did you retrain your brain to want education when there's so many other distractions?
Yeah.
TikTok,
To
YouTube,
want.
Instagram, TV, movies, all the goofiness, and then you plowed through your classes so that in that year you paid off your education.
Yeah. So this is interesting. Anybody who has ever read, I'm going to share my iPad screen for this one. Anybody who has ever read Think and Grow Rich? Ooh, is it charged? Yes. There's a section in this book, and it's been so many years that I know I'm gonna butcher it, but the general idea. All right, let's see. Turn share screen. Share iPad. And
Riches begin to come. They come so quickly and in such great abundance
yeah.
that one wonders where they've been hiding during all those lean years.
Oh yeah.
Bob Snyder always refers to that.
Yeah, it's a great
Yes.
book.
So
Mandatory reading.
this one is the transmutation of desire. So let's do this. And just so I know what this is, we're gonna say today is May 7, 2025.
I think you
All
got to
right.
click one more thing.
What's that?
I'm not seeing it on my side.
Oh, weird. Let's see. Share. Yeah, I can't see your guys' faces anymore. If I stop share and then reshare.
While you're doing that, go ahead, Sandra. I see your hand is up.
Oh, I think I need to share via
Okay.
Zoom.
Hi, Daine. Daine, it's Sandra. I'm with my husband, Steve. He's nervous about using my phone. I'm going in for my third radiation treatment and I'm leaving the phone with him. So he wants to be able to ask you a question. I showed him how on my phone to work. So I hope it functions properly. And I just wanted to give you a heads up. So if Steve pops up, you'll know why. Thank you
Gotcha.
very much. Just and I love that meme that your wife sent you. I pray that my husband hits all his goals so I can buy anything I want. I'm putting that at the top of my 101 I want to do list. Thank you for that. Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right, there we go. I was clicking the wrong button. Should be able to see it now.
Dane, did you send it on the chat? Is it on the chat, that meme that you're talking about?
No, I'd have to go dig and find
Oh,
it.
okay.
But I was just telling people about it. They should send
Oh,
it.
okay.
And it was like a dog that was like making a funny gesture that would kind of look like praying. And but the text over was basically me, like it was like point of view, me praying that my husband achieves all of his goals so that I can buy anything that I want or something like that. Oh, I thought that was hilarious. All right. So, transmutation of desire, transmutation of motivation. So somebody put it to me this way, and I forget where I got this, but they put it this way. So if we are right here in the middle, so this is me or this is us, this is you essentially, and they said, all right, so this line back here, I forget what they called it, but they basically called this the like emergency. Emergency mode. And then this line, they called it, Michael, I might have actually got this from you. So maybe you'll have to help me if you recognize what I'm doing here. But emergency, and then this line was, I want to say like, I don't want to say comfort. I don't want to say, I'm sure I'll be able to clarify as I go. So anyway, so in this space from here to here, we don't really care to change anything about our lives. We won't act with major what's the word I'm looking for? And so sorry, this has been so many years since I've talked about this, so it's gonna be a little wishy-washy. So major action, essentially. In this space, we will not take major action because everything's fine. Urgency, thank you. No major urgency inside of this, right? You have a cushy job that sure, like you want more. Like there is desire to do more than what you're making. There is desire to yeah, complacency essentially. Like this is like the complacency zone between here and here. And so maybe this was like big goals. That's like yeah, like I could get those big goals, but I'll do it when I want to or whatever. Like it's not, there's no urgency, right? So this over here is the emergency urgency line. Urgency. So, for example, the way that this was explained to me is what if all of a sudden you lose that cushy job and so there's no income. All of a sudden you step over here and you're just like, okay, guys, we got to go on beans and rice. I got to start applying for 10 jobs a day. Like you got to do stuff, right? Or even let's say that I remember this happened to me the first time I ever bought a house, and I'm gonna put all your guys' faces over here so I don't keep looking, keep tilting my head. But even like let's say so when I bought my first house, I remember getting an email, and in the email it was like, oh, by the way, I know your payment used to be like $1,600 a month or whatever it was, $1,800 a month, but now it's $2,200 a month because not the rate. The rate didn't change. Like, no, you got a locked in 30-year rate, a fixed rate, but insurance went up, taxes went up, and so we're raising your payment by $200, $300, $400, whatever. It's even happened to me on this house. Like since we moved, we only been here like 2 years. The payment has increased by like $400 a month, $500 a month, just because going through the 2020s, insurances, I'm not sure if everybody's seen this, but insurance rates are just going up lately. And so all of a sudden it's like, oh, wow, like payment went up. And so I remember when we bought that house, we were like, okay, here's our budget. This is what we live on. Like, you know, when we bought our first house, it was really tight. And all of a sudden, just from one email, we went from being kind of in this like comfort zone, like we're doing okay, like we got all the money coming in to pay our bills, and maybe nothing extra here. Insurance is a Ponzi scheme. I believe it. So anyway, so all of a sudden we were like, crap, urgency mode. Like, you know, we're $200 a month in the hole based on our regular budgets. And so we either need to go on beans and rice or stop eating steak or stop whatever, or we got to make more money. And so all of a sudden it puts our minds into urgency mode. Okay. And so then I read the book, Think and Grow Rich. And he talked about how when you want something, and if you're in this zone, essentially he's like, you won't get it because motivation is crap, doesn't exist. And so if you're comfortable, you won't achieve those big goals. You won't jump out into those big goals because, well, you're comfortable. And so what you need to do is create this urgency. And so he calls it transmutation of desire. Right? And he talks about a lot of different things, even intimacy and stuff like that. So transmutating any kind of desire. If you have any kind of desire in your life where you just love a thing, he talks about how you transmutate that. So for example, let's use this as an example. And so let's say that in your world, this is the line of emergency is, and the way that I kind of rigged this for myself, I think I've shared this before on this call, but I used to say, okay, if I have $2,000 in the bank account, this was many, many years ago. If I have $2,000 in the bank account, then we're comfortable. We have a month to live. You know, this is when we were living in an attic apartment, just renting and cheap everything. But yeah, if we have $2,000 in the bank account, we have enough to live for like a month. And so we're comfortable. And so what I had to do, because I quit my job, I joined Renatus, I quit my job, and the only way we're going to pay our bills is if we had earnings from Renatus marketing, because the deals hadn't come yet. I was still educating and I was still learning. So sorry, Mike, this is a long question, long answer to your question about how did I desire education. This is it though. Anyway, and so if I had, let's say the bank account dropped to like $1,900, then all of a sudden there would be like a switch that just flipped in my mind. That's like, ah, crap. Like we're in urgency mode. Okay, honey, stop spending money. Do we have enough food in the pantry, in the fridge, that we're good until we can earn enough money to get above that $2,000 and then some, so that we have enough money to, you know, to live for whatever. And as soon as we have like $2,500, oops, in the bank account, it's like, okay, whew, we've got effectively $500 to spend, right? And that's how I would train my brain, if you will. But the problem became, as soon as I was able to always like be staying above that $2,000, it became comfortable. It became like, yeah, we're good. Like we got $2,900 in the bank. Like let's just sit back and relax at the end of the day. And so what I had to start doing was say, okay, screw this. We're going to go for, you know, and at the time this was such a big jump. We're going to go for $4,000. So even though now we had $2,500, even though we had $2,500 in the bank account, in my mind, that became red. That became like, oh crap, we are below our comfort zone. And so, honey, you know, I would tell my wife, we have enough food in the pantry. We have enough food in the fridge. Like, don't buy food. Don't order anything on Amazon. In fact, at this time of our lives, Amazon didn't exist because we were like, no, we can't afford it. So we didn't have Amazon. But yeah, don't go to the grocery store. Don't drive anywhere. Just go to the park. Like, that's it. and we'll figure it out. We're going to work hard, put our head down, and we're in urgency mode that we're going to work and work and work and work until we get to that $4,000. And then as soon as we get to $4,500, like, okay, we got $500 to spend because we won't go below 4. And so all of a sudden I was able to create this urgency, then became a big problem. As soon as we had the $4,000 in the bank, and really we did it by saving, not earning extra money, things got really comfortable. And my wife kept saying, like, you know, and myself, like, hey, we got these big goals. Like we're not driving towards big goals anymore. Like we're just kind of coasting, right? And so all of a sudden I was like, okay, big goals cost this much money. Let's not do red. Let's do yellow. Big goals cost this much money, whatever it was. And so then I was like, okay, in order to do that, we've got to up this. We got to up this to $10,000 or whatever it is, you know, let's just say $8,000. And that became the, oh, if I do the math, how long is it going to take me? If I do the math, how long is it going to take me to friggin' make $8,000 by just living the regular life, living the regular job or doing the regular job, you know, say, you know, not increasing the income. And it's like, okay, how few calories can we eat in a day just to save enough money to go achieve big goals? And it was like not motivating. I was like, no, I'm not going to go on beans and rice just to achieve these big goals. Enters Renatus and all these mindsets and things like that, which changed my life, and was like, oh, just go make more money. And so what ended up happening was I changed this urgency line, or let's call it, right, let's this urgency line right here. I took this urgency line and just kept moving it over here. And sure, technically this, let's do the yellow. Technically this big goals line also kept moving, but it just became less and less comfortable because in the mind, it was like, crap, we're in urgency mode. And so what I would do is decide, okay, what do I need to make more money? I need more knowledge. And so I would transmutate the emotions, the urgency of like, oh crap, we're in emergency mode. I would basically I would have to tell my brain that emergency mode means I need learning, I need education, I need to watch my classes because it's not gonna cut it with as big a goals as I have. It's not gonna cut it to just save my way with my current income levels. And so it became like, okay, emergency mode means I'm in my classes. Emergency mode means that I eat, sleep, and breathe. I do not do anything else in a day until I do the thing, until I watch classes, if you will, get educated. And that included personal development. That included obviously Renatus education, both the same. And so all of a sudden I'm moving these lines that if we don't have this much money in the bank, emergency mode kicks in, like, crap, like we have below, let's keep this example. We have below $4,000, we have $3,500. And it's like, okay, honey, beans and rice until we get above that, but also education. Like I do not do anything until I am moving myself into a position where I can make more money. And it's interesting because I still live like this today. It's just multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank. In fact, right now it's basically FDIC. If I'm ever below FDIC in a certain account, 250 grand, I've got 3 different businesses basically. If I'm ever below the FDIC amount in any one of those businesses, my brain like kicks in. It's like, okay, honey, stop ordering Amazon. Stop going to the grocery store. Do we have enough food in the closet or in the pantry, in the fridge, in the freezer, whatever, that we're good? No vacations. Like stop scheduling vacations because I have to bust it and get us back to that zero. Like I said, even to this day, I still live my life in this way that creates urgency, because I will tell you that right now it can be really, really easy to just be like, we're good. Like we just sit back and not work for a while and be just fine. All the properties we have with money coming in, all the stuff. Like in some ways I envy, definitely in some ways I envy my past self, because it was easier to get myself motivated, because the big goals were out there, and it was easy to be like, oh yeah, like we're only a month or 2 away from bankruptcy. And so let's increase that from 4,000 to 8,000 or whatever. But like I say, even today, I still have to train that brain to be like, okay, urgency mode. I don't do anything. I don't go drive my excavator out there on the farm destroying a beaver dam until I bust it and get to a certain point, because I pretend. I'm trying to remember the saying, but I read it somewhere where they were like, pretend. What was it? Pretend like you can't afford. There's a saying, something like, pretend like you can't afford the bread, and don't let people know that you own the bakery, or something to that effect. I forget exactly what it was, but essentially that, like, pretend like you can't afford. Like I will literally tell myself, if we've got lower than that dollar amount in the bank account, that's like, oh crap, emergency mode, no complacency. We got to bust it. We got to work hard. No frivolous spending, no whatever. It's go time. And just put my head down and work. And so obviously whenever I buy a house, so for example, like I just bought 3 houses and about to buy 3 more. And so that obviously takes money. And so it'll put me below that dollar amount. It's like, okay, bust it. Got to get more, got to work hard. Anyway, I hope you guys are picking up what I'm putting down. But you transmutate the desire because then it's an emotional response. Oh, there we go. Act like you can't afford the bread until they find out you own the bakery. Like exactly. And I still to this day, and it's so funny because I got, some friends or neighbors, whatever, and they see what, where we live, what we drive, whatever. And I can tell that sometimes I'm just like, no, like can't spend the money on this thing or whatever. And people are just like, what the heck, Daine? Like, they don't get it. Because I live by my principles. And I probably will forever. That I'll act like I can't afford the bread. Because I've got bigger goals and I've purposely put myself in the uncomfortable zone. I've purposely put myself in emergency mode of it is time to earn more money. It is time to attack that end of the equation, to make more money, to get us to where we want to go. Anyway, so you transmutate those meanings. You move those goalposts of what in your life, whatever you feel is not acceptable. Because at the end of the day, like even somebody who loses a job or let's even say takes a job that makes less money. I mean, how many times have I heard people like that effectively like settle? Oh, I'm trying to remember who I was just talking to. I was talking to somebody. They're like, yeah, I technically took a job that I make this much less money. And then what followed that was just justify. They were just like, yeah, like make less money, but this is nicer, this is nice, that's nicer, whatever. And just about all these different things. And which again, I'm not saying is wrong. It's human nature. And so just decide what it is that you want. If you end up saying like, hey, I make less money, but hey, the quality of life went up, like no one's going to say that that's a wrong answer. But if you're like, hey, I make less money and I actually didn't even like steak. And you sit there or whatever it is. I actually don't even like whatever, chicken, pork. I don't even like eating these things that cost a little more money. Or, oh, I didn't even like going on vacation. And we took less money or whatever. That's not wrong, but are you lying to yourself? Are there really things that you want to go out and achieve? Are there really things that you want to go out and experience? Are there really things that tools or whatever, tools or toys? Are there really things that you want to have at your disposal? Whatever it is. And you're just telling yourself like, no, I don't really need it. I don't really want it. Obviously most of us don't really need it. But you get to decide what this is. And so as soon as you understand that, instead of just living a life by default, like the person I'm trying to remember who it was, but the person that was telling me like, yeah, like it technically took a pay cut by moving from this job to this job, but justify. Like you could almost hear it in their voice that they were just telling themselves, they're telling themselves that. They're just telling themselves that that no, this is better. This is better to live like this. Whatever it is, smaller house. We even though we have a bunch of kids, whatever it is. Don't worry, 3 kids in a bedroom, 4 kids in a bedroom, we're good. We like it better this way anyway. And you can justify the world, and you can convince your brain. You can literally convince your brain that it's better, that you're fine, all that stuff. Anyway, so for me, it was moving, not necessarily the big goalpost. Sure, move it, but really it was the bottom line. What is the minimum that I will allow for myself and from myself? And I basically just said a dollar amount sitting in the bank account. Do not ever go below that. or else we're in a, emergency mode kicks on. And I didn't know how else to make more money. And so I was able to transmutate that into, I am watching my classes. There is something that I do not know that I need to know. There is something I have not heard that I need to hear. And watch my classes I did a lot. I've watched many, many classes. I would dare guess more than most. When I interact with people, you can tell. You can tell who's been very educated and actually watched their classes versus someone who is just asking questions because they have the snippets from maybe what other people have been sharing. And yeah, so anyway, Michael, there's my long answer. Transmutate urgency, like natural human tendency urgency. Am I the only one feeling this discussion? I appreciate it. Thanks, brother. And you decide. And it's crazy. As soon as you understand that you get to decide this, like I just broke a mirror, basically. For some people, probably. That's just like, wait a second. I've been in charge of this the whole time. And it's been by default. Or maybe you look back and you've experienced like moments like this where in your life, those ups and downs, you experience those moments where by default you had to enter emergency mode versus like, no, I'm purposefully going to put myself in emergency mode. But yeah, thanks for all the love, guys. Tim and Tamara.
Daine, can I interrupt?
Go ahead, brother.
My name is Steve. I'm Sandra's husband.
Uh-huh.
We just talked about this this whole week. Sandra runs finances in the family, and she keeps on saying, "I'm a spendthrift." And she keeps on saying, "Steve, you gotta stop. You gotta stop. We can't afford things, And I'm glad that you brought this up, Daine, because it just made my whole decision of what I'm going to do. Today, I started watching my foreclosure class, and I do foreclosures, I do tax deeds, and I do bankruptcy. And these are the things that I do. But I also work part-time for Carnival Cruise Lines, and that keeps us going. We're senior citizens, and we collect Social Security, and our Social Security is about almost $5,000 a month. And I want to tell you something. When I was younger, when I was 16 years old, I saw an advertisement in a paper for a job on Wall Street. I called the place, and he liked the way I talked on the phone, and he says to me, "I'm sending a car for you. I want to interview you in person." And that's what he did. I started working on Wall Street at 16 years old. When I graduated high school, I won 4 scholarships for baseball. Okay. And okay, he says, if you don't take these scholarships, I'll make you a millionaire when you're 20 years old. Okay. So I said, put that in writing and notarize it. And that's exactly what he did. And at 20 years old, on my birthday, he gave me a check for $1 million. Okay. I was the youngest millionaire on Wall Street. But 2008, I lost all my money because I was watching the market. My first wife died of cancer. She was very, very sick. I was taking care of her. But
So Steve, I gotta ask you, do you have a question? Oh, did we lose Steve? Is it just me, or can everybody else not hear him either?
Can't hear him.
Yeah, it kind of went down.
All right, Steve, we lost you. I'm not sure. What happened?
Dane, I have a quick question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is a really funny topic. I feel like you're talking to me. I have my partner in my nonprofit is extremely urgent. Like he's probably the only person that gets me up at like 5 o'clock in the morning to do work sometimes.
Nice.
And it's amazing because I'm the complete opposite. So and like I need to be more. I get to be more urgent. And he gets to be more chill. But the challenge is for me, like when I don't have someone like that working with me, my natural composure is I'm just chill, right? Like I don't naturally, it doesn't naturally come to me. So my question is, after like watching what you just did, like, so you just set the standards to create the urgency for you. Like, how did you like? I don't know how to make myself naturally be urgent unless it's something I really want. Like sometimes it'll kick in, but I'm not like the urgency isn't really a natural thing for me.
Me neither, to be perfectly honest. Like my father used to say, what did he say? I can't remember exactly what it was, but basically along the lines of like, I have one speed. Like Daine has one speed and it's slow. And, you know, because my father working on a farm, being raised, and then working construction, and then me, you know, growing up and roofing with him sometimes or whatever, I would beat to the tune of my own drum, or beat at I would run at the beat of my own drum essentially, and it was always slow, or slower than he wanted or whatever it was, and uh, and so I feel like I'm honestly still kind of like that. Like it probably takes me longer to do most things compared to the average person, whether that's, you know, write up a real estate document or analyze a deal, whatever it is. Like I'm probably not as fast at doing the task as most, if not many. And so urgency for me might look a little bit different, because it's not like urgency for me is not like, okay, yeah, we gotta like push, you know, we gotta exert all of our energy. Like I'm just, I have one speed, and I've been told that by other people as well, that it's just slow. You know, and this comes out in multiple areas of my life. Like even, I think I've shared this before, but been getting into enduro dirt biking. You know, not like a racetrack where you just go around the same thing. Like, no, like you go and just see where you can go, you see where you can make it up in the mountains or whatever, and climbing rocks and out of all the people we go with, I'm usually the slowest, if not close to the slowest rider. But I don't care. I beat to the what's that? I march at the beat of my own drum. And so for me, urgency just means that I place what's the saying? What's the thing I'm looking for? Prioritize, right? I choose, you know, because everybody has 24 hours in a day. And so even though my urgency might not look like I'm like pushing, urgency for me might look like I prioritize and say, okay, I am doing this before I do anything else today. For example, I have had the dream ever since we moved to here, because we already had an RV. I'm sorry if I already showed this story, but we already had the RV and love the RV. But the closest RV dump to my house is either 20 minutes north or 1 hour south. And so when we're coming home from either way, if I miss the one south, then I have to go 20 minutes past my house and go dump the RV and then come back home. Anyway, so ever since we moved here, I've been like, I am putting in an RV dump at my house. And like I say, we've lived here for almost 3 years. But just a month ago, I decided, like, okay, I need to decide, do I really want this? Do I really want an RV dump at our house, or do I need to just say, never mind, I don't want it? And And sorry, let me just I was hearing myself for some anyway. So I was like, okay, I need to decide. So I need to apply this comfort zone stuff. And so the way that I finally got myself to get out of bed and create or put in an RV dump was we came home one day and the RV dump an hour south that we were passing, it was out of order. There was a big cone and they said out of order. And so I was like, ah, crap, like we can't even dump on our way home. And so so I'm asking my wife, because we were coming home late, and I'm asking my wife, like, hey, do you want to just have everybody stay in the RV and I'll go to the one 20 minutes north. So we pass our house, go dump and then come back home, or do you want me to just drop you guys off? And she's like, it's late, like let's just do it tomorrow. And anyway, so we get home and kids go to bed, whatever. And then I was like, wait a second. I'm going to create the urgency. And so I then told myself, like, okay, all right, Daine, we're going to raise the stakes. Here's the urgency. I told myself, I will not dump this RV. And anybody who has an RV knows, like you can mess your RV up if you don't dump it for a long period of time by just leaving all the stuff in there. And so I told myself, all right, here's the urgency. I told myself, I will not dump this RV anywhere except at my house, which means I have to do the research. I have to gather the materials, get any tools that I need, whatever it is. And we're putting in this RV dump. And so, and it took me a few days, but I basically was like, I have a deadline. I gave myself that artificial deadline because did I really have to? No, I could have just driven it 20 minutes north and dumped the RV. But I created that, I created the urgency by saying, okay, I have to dump this RV at our house. And so I didn't do anything else. I mean, I still, got my work done, if I had a deal closed or whatever, but I didn't do anything else outside of my basic needs other than research, gather materials, and do the work. And I put it in an RV dump, and I dumped the RV for the first time right out, basically right after I installed it. And now I've got an RV dump. And I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, like why didn't I do this 2 years ago? Like I waited because I was in that comfort zone when it came to that specific thing. If I put the blinders on and say, let's put the comfort zone over here and the big goals over here. If I just focus on just the RV dump scenario, like, yeah, it was comfortable. Because yeah, there was one 20 minutes, like, yeah, like it wasn't like that big a deal, but I could live with it. Or the one an hour south, whatever. But created the environment where it was like, okay, I have to do this because I've chosen that I will honor myself and I will not dump this RV anywhere but at my house. And so I hope that's making sense, Tamara. You create these, and I have to do this with all kinds of things now. I've had to do it for years and I still do it today, where if I want something, I have to create that environment that creates that urgency. And I beat it my own drum, whatever. Like it's not like I wake up earlier in the day than I used to. It's not, but maybe you're like me and I'm a night owl. I don't like waking up early, but I'll stay up until 1 a.m. all the time, no problem. And so it becomes like, okay, I'm not going to stay up until 1 a.m. and do what I regularly do. I'll stay up until 1 a.m. working on the thing that I need to work on that I've chosen. Like, hey, we're out of comfort zone on this thing, and I will not accept anything less than this. And so, Tamara, let me know if this is making sense. You create that urgency essentially, and you make those agreements with yourself where it's like, no, I will not stand for anything less than this. I will not stand for anything. And you create that urgency. I'm trying to remember some other things, just examples where it's like, where I just choose like, okay, I am not doing it this way anymore. I'll do that in my business. In fact, I just did it. So my assistant, Kate, some of you might have met if any of you ever done a deal with me, you've met Kate, my assistant. She's awesome. She's in Italy right now. And she's been in Italy all this week. And so it's been on me to basically run the ship. And it's so funny because she jokes. She's like, every time I take a little vacation, I always come back and you've like changed everything and made everything better. And I'm doing that right now. So for example, we're closing a deal. We're closing 2 deals today. And so yesterday and let's see, what's today, Wednesday? So Monday and Tuesday, I made myself that agreement where I was looking at our system and how everything functions and basically the order of operations and was just like, this sucks. I got better ideas than this. And so I had a choice. Do I just leave that? I was like, hey, this is a great idea to improve our systems and make things more efficient or make things better, Murphy's Law proof or whatever it is, and just leave that idea out there? Or I told myself, okay, Daine, we're going to raise the stakes. I will not do these deals in the old system at all. The only way that I do these new deals is if I bust out the ideas that I have to improve the system, improve the flow or whatever, whatever the idea was. I will not do these deals in the old way. I refuse. I will only do these deals in the new way, in the new system, in the new, more efficient, whatever it is, only. And so I'll tell you, if Monday and Tuesday, because I knew I had deadlines to do these deals by basically today. And so I stayed up late. I worked extra hard and got it done. I did this instead of some other things that I wanted to do, but and was able to transmutate desire to do other things like I don't know. I wanted to go ride my dirt bike or whatever. I wanted to go build a track for my kids with the excavator, whatever it is. Instead, I transmutated the desire to do those other things and to do the deal itself or the deals themselves to I have to improve upon this system. I have to do this task in order to do the 2 deals that I did today or go have fun. And so I did it. I put the time in, I sacrificed time doing something else and did this instead and made it a priority. And it's so funny because my assistant's going to come back from Italy next week and she's going to say it all over again. Like, oh my gosh, Daine, like you changed everything, but this is actually way nicer. Thank you. Because I mean, she's the one that runs the system mostly, which again, can put me in a complacent zone to not improve upon my systems because I'm not even running them. She is, and I pay her to do it. And so do it. And so, yeah, in fact, that's partially like how I've designed it, I guess, is every time that she goes on vacation, I run the system and I'm just like, man, this could be better. And then tell myself like, okay, I won't do another deal using the system until this is fixed. And so, you utilize your life, you utilize things going on in life like this. I utilize the fact that my assistant was on vacation. I'm running the system. Time to make improvements. Because you better believe it, Tamara, I won't. Because again, I don't consider myself like an insanely motivated person to be like, yeah, like let's bust this out. Like I do it when I create necessity. I do it when I create that urgency that's like, okay, I've got deals closed and people are relying on me, which is another thing, obligation. When you obligate yourself to other people, like obligating myself to those other deals, to a couple of deals. But yeah, I hope that makes sense. Tamar says, I'm urgent with the things I want to be urgent with. Yes. And so just decide what you want to be urgent with. And you create these deadlines that again, might only be honored by you because obviously I'm not going to be texting my assistant while she's in Italy, be like, hey, I'm going to do that. Like, no, but I basically was able to say like, okay, I will not help those people that I'm doing these deals with until I fix my system, which technically it wasn't even broken because it was perfectly functioning, but I told myself that it was broken and I had to fix it. And so anyway, oh, thanks. Thanks, Corinne. But yeah, and so no, I'm not like massively like, oh, let's be urgent and push and go and do hard things. Naturally, it's more of like, okay, I accept nothing less than this. I accept nothing less than, like for example, when I was watching classes, it was like, okay, I will not do anything else in the day, other than previous obligations or whatever. But I will not do anything else in the day that's just personal time or personal choice, whatever, until I watch this many hours of class. Like I can't open a single YouTube. I can't open a single, I like Michael said, I got rid of our TV. But I can't read a book. I can't, nothing. I will not do anything else until I do this minimum thing that I've decided I'm going to do. But yeah. Essentially obligate yourself and making it a priority. Yeah, as simple as that. But yeah, great question. Hope that helps. Any last, we're about 9:30 here at my time. So any last questions, comments, clarifications? Happy to help. And if not, then we'll go ahead and wrap it up.
This is awesome, Daine, as usual.
You betcha. But yeah, create
Thank you
your
so
own
much.
obligation. So sweet. Have you thought about doing a coaching program? Like being a coach or having a coach? I'm not sure what you mean, Tim. Being a coach.
I got an unmute button. I can click I can click the unmute button. Yeah, so I mean the way that you are, man, I love it. Like I was thinking to myself, like, man, there's some things in my life I wish Daine was just in my side pocket that but that I could just take him out and be like, hey, I need help with this deal, or I need some motivation. And then just listening to today, I feel like 1 week of you is not enough.
Well,
Speak for
let's do this. Like, what is the one thing that you will not face me or anyone else on this call until you have it done? Because you'll
my
be on
morning
week, right?
So even now, when you were saying, I'm like, oh shoot, like I have a morning routine written down, but I've been very lazy the last 1.5 weeks on doing it, and it really affects my day because I worked really hard. I spent money and I worked with coaches to be able to create this, and then I'll be like, I'm on my phone up too late, and then I have a late start in the morning, and I've got something I've got to, and then I lose my morning time. Like I lose my productive morning time that could have got me in the zone, could have got me in the flow where I could have or set the day, but then I have a day of like fires instead. And then I didn't get, I didn't do my morning exercises, my spiritual time, things like that. And then, or then I don't eat right. And then it just kind of goes over. So I would say that thing.
I'm a big proponent. I'm a big proponent of one thing at a time. Like to me, it just sounds like, oh my gosh, like you listed off a whole bunch of things, and it's like stressing me out in a way. And so one thing at a time, if you were to decide, okay, I am doing this one thing, and you know when you did it because you can check it off or whatever, but what is the one thing that you want to do before you face me and everybody else on this call next week?
So with my morning routine, well, because even in my morning routine, I've got like 3 things that I do. I've got prayer, scripture. I'm working with Ron Williams, prayer, scripture, and exercise. And so that alone takes me about an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Make it smaller.
Make it smaller.
One thing at a time. So tell
Like,
yourself.
I wake
tell
up and I
yourself-
don't look at my phone. Like, okay, if I
Yeah,
don't look at my phone the first thing in the morning, I win the day.
I can't remember who I got this from, but somebody said, look at your calendar by 15-minute blocks, 15-minute increments. So what is one thing that you can do that takes 15 minutes that you can prioritize and say, okay, I will not do anything else until I do this thing. And it only takes you 15 minutes. So that way you're just like, okay, yeah, I know I need to put out this fire, but you know what? It can wait 15 minutes. Because if your brain has to choose, like, okay, I've got my hour-and-a-half routine, or I need to put out this fire. Your brain will naturally say, I need to put out the fire because I can't wait an hour and a half to put out the fire. But your brain will be more open to being like, okay, I can put out the fire in 15 minutes and I'm going to do this thing. So what's the one thing that you'll say, okay, I will do this one thing before I do anything else? That's going to, let's work in 15-minute blocks for now and we'll change it later, but start small.
Okay, so if we say that, and hopefully other people also listening will also kind of put myself in your shoes or put yourself in my shoes, what would you say with your 15-minute thing? It'd have to be mindset. Whatever it is, like for me, like praying puts me in the mindset, scripture study puts me in the mindset to something for 15 minutes to start my day with a morning mindset. I also have like a morning mantra that I have too, that I can kind of go over where I remind myself of my intentions for the day.
So what's it going to be? You said praying. Is that the one thing we're going to choose? Just pick one.
Well, no, the thing I chose was, I thought to myself was my morning mindset.
Oh,
like
the
setting
mantra.
the morning mind. Yeah, set the mindset and setting mindset. I could do that in those three different ways.
Okay. So do you eat breakfast in the morning? Are you a breakfast person?
Yeah.
Every morning, like every morning without fail, you eat breakfast?
Sure.
So
obviously sometimes I wake up really late and I'm like, I gotta move because I had a late start
Yeah.
and then I forget it.
so so you can change it if you want. But one thing to say is like, okay, I refuse. I will not live my life like this any longer. I'm sick and tired. And you say, okay, I will not eat breakfast until I do my morning mantra. Because that's one thing that you can associate, like, hey, like I have to eat breakfast. And then you just tell yourself, because again, if you have an hour and a half thing and you'll be like, okay, I can't eat breakfast until I do my hour and a half thing, like you'll just say, we're eating breakfast or putting out the fires, whatever it is. And so tell yourself, like, I refuse to eat breakfast until I do my morning mantra. And all of a sudden you transmutate the desire to eat breakfast into I want to do my morning mantra because I also want to eat breakfast. And so, and people can, people can do this with other things than breakfast. We're just using this as an example for Tim. But tell yourself like, okay, I will not eat breakfast until I do my morning mantra. And so that means you want to do your morning mantra because you also want to eat breakfast. And you refuse to live like that. You refuse to live like anything else. And so tell yourself. And if you need some kind of reminder, like do anything you need, put a big rock on your table where you usually sit to eat your breakfast or something like that, where you have to like physically move it and change the you have to pattern interrupt because our brains are so used to just eating breakfast really quickly that you might not be like, crap, or you might be like, crap, I needed to do my morning matcha, but here I am like eating my breakfast. But if you need to create that pattern interrupt, then do it. Put a rock there, just do something that you physically have to be like, what the heck is this doing here? And you see it and it pattern interrupt. Oh, mantra. Cool, I'm gonna go take 15 minutes. I'll come back to breakfast because our brains can take 15-minute segments. And that's, 15 minutes, like that's not a big deal. And so just make that decision. I will not eat breakfast until I do my morning mantra. As well as you've obligated yourself to all of us on the call, or there's been anywhere between 30 and 40 people on the call that probably heard this. And so you will not face us next week until you can say, hey, I'm doing this. And so will you do it?
Okay. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Helps
And now
when
all of a
people
sudden,
know.
and
But
now
like
all
we
of a
know,
sudden it's like, I'm going to do my morning mantra.
yeah. I mean, when you don't have accountability to anybody, at least for me, other people might feel a little bit different. I feel like that
But
there's no,
this is
but
how
I
you,
loved today's call because you talked about necessity
but this is how
and
you
creating
create
urgency.
the accountability to yourself. Is like you just decide, like, I will not accept anything less. Everything can wait. And that's why I say, like, for now, break it down into 15-minute blocks, because an hour and a half block, that's a big commitment time wise. I mean, 24 hours in a day here, let's see, 1.5 divided by 24. I mean, that's like 6% of your day. And well, honestly, if we don't count the sleeping hours,
Yeah, waking up.
by
Yeah.
let's say 8 hours of sleep-ish. Oops. So let's say 16 waking hours. That's like 10% of your day, 9.37% of your day to say, hey, I want an hour and a half morning routine, or routine, let's just say routine, whether you do it morning or after, doesn't matter. That's 10% of your
It's
day.
like a tithe. I'm getting a tithe of my day too. My morning routine.
So,
That's
but
cool.
a 15-minute, let's do this, 0.25 divided by 16 waking hours, that's 1.5%. That's chump change. And so the brain is just like, yeah, 1.5% of my day to take 15 minutes and do the thing. Easy. Piece of cake. And oh yeah, I can do this before. I can do this before I eat my breakfast. Like, yeah, like, I'm on my way to eat breakfast, and you see a big rock sitting in your place where you eat your breakfast, like, I gotta go take 15 minutes and do my mantra and then come back to eating breakfast. Your brain will allow you to do this. Making sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. All right, Tim, go and do. Anybody else that was like playing along in their own minds of like what you're going to do, like do it. Do this as well. All right, guys, appreciate you. Take care.
Thank you, Daine. It was
Thanks,
awesome.
man. You're the man.
Go, Tim. Go, Tim.
Thank you, Gilda.
Thank you.
Kim, where are you? Where are you walking and talking from? Yeah. Don't back in. Okay. I can't get my door up.
I'm at
Pull it up.
there's a course that I live by. I was just walking my dogs in the morning.
Walking your dogs. But where are you? In Japan or America?
Oh, I'm in America. Back in America. I've been back for like 10 months now.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, welcome home.
Yeah. Arigato. Arigato gozaimasu. Yeah, it's good. It's a beautiful day. Utah. Arigato.
It is a beautiful day. All right, well, you heard the man. He gave us some instructions. Let's get to work. Thanks to everyone for participating. And I'm going to shut her down. We'll see you guys next week. Another exciting episode.